In Islam, the Quran strongly enjoins Muslims to treat animals with compassion and not to abuse them. All creatures are believed to praise God, even if this praise is not expressed in human language. The Quran explicitly allows the eating of the meat of certain halal animals. Although some Sufis have practiced vegetarianism, there has been no serious discourse on the possibility of vegetarian interpretations. Certain animals can be eaten under the condition that they are slaughtered in a specified way, which has been criticized by animal rights activists. Prohibitions include swine, carrion, and animals dhabihah in the name of someone other than God. The Quran also states eat that over which the name of God hath been mentioned. Animals frowned upon to keep are dogs, as they are unclean. Other animals which are strongly prohibited are unclean animals such as pigs, guinea pigs, hamsters, any others who are unable to clean or who do reproduce their litter. Animals in Pre-Islamic Arabia. In Pre-Islamic Arabia, Arab Bedouin, like other people, attributed the qualities and the faults of humans to animals. Generosity, for example, was attributed to the cock. Perfidy to the lizard. Stupidity to the bustard. And boldness to the lion. Based on the facts that the names of certain tribes bear the names of animals, survivals of animal cults, prohibitions of certain foods and other indications, W.R. Smith argued for the practice of totemism by certain tribes of Arabia. Others have argued that these evidences may only imply practice of a form of animalism. In support of this, for example, it was believed that upon one's death, the soul departs from the body in the form of a bird. The soulless bird then flies about the tomb for some time, occasionally crying out. Although the Prophet Muhammad rejected this belief, it persisted under Islam in various forms. Quran. Although over 200 verses in the Quran deal with animals and 6 suras of the Quran are named after animals, animal life is not a predominant theme in the Quran. Haywan, the Arabic word meaning animal, makes one appearance. On the other hand, the term dhabihah, usually taken to mean beast of burden, occurs a number of times in the Quran while remaining rare in medieval Arabic works on zoology. By implication, animals in the Quran and early Muslim thought are usually seen solely in terms of their relation to human beings, producing a tendency toward anthropocentrism. The Quran applies the word Muslim not only to humans but also to other animals in the inanimate world. The divine law manifests itself in the form of laws both in human society and in the world of nature. In Islamic terminology, for example, a bee is a Muslim precisely because it lives and dies obeying the sharia that God has prescribed for the community of bees, just as a person is a Muslim by virtue of the fact that he or she submits to the revealed sharia ordained for humans in the Quran and Sunnah. The Quran strongly enjoins Muslims to treat animals with compassion and not to abuse them. The Quran states that all creation praises God, even if this praise is not expressed in human language. In verse 638, the Quran applies the term ummah, generally used to mean a human religious community, for genera of animals. The Encyclopedia of the Quran states that this verse has been far-reaching in its moral and ecological implications. There is not an animal on the earth, nor a being that flies on its wings, but communities like you. Nothing have we omitted from the book, and they shall be gathered to their Lord in the end. According to many verses of the Quran, the consumption of pork is sinful, unless there is no alternative other than starving to death. Some animals' appearances in the Quran, Sunnah refers to the traditional biographies of Muhammad wherein examples of sayings attributed to him and his conduct have been recorded. Sunni and Shia hadith differ vastly, with Shia hadith generally containing more anthropomorphism and praise of animals. Treatment of animals: it is forbidden to beat animals unnecessarily, to brand them on the face, or to allow them to fight each other for human entertainment. They must not be mutilated while they are alive. Muhammad is also reported to have said, "There is no man who kills, even a sparrow or anything smaller, without its deserving it, but God will question him about it, on the judgment day, and, whoever is kind to the creatures of God is kind to himself." According to another hadith, Muhammad issued advice to kill fawasiq animals, such as the rat and the scorpion, within the holy area of Mecca. Killing other non-domesticated animals in this area, such as zebras and birds, is forbidden. Conversation with animals. In both Muslim accounts, Muhammad is said to have conversed nonchalantly with camels, birds and other species. Shia accounts also extend this to include the imams. In one account, a camel is said to have come to Muhammad to complain that despite its service to its owner, it was due to be killed. Muhammad summoned the owner and ordered the man to spare the camel. There is also an account in the Qur'an surah an-Naml of Sulaiman talking to ants and birds. The 12 and Ismaili Shia imams declared that they could communicate with anything that had a soul. Hunting and slaughter. Muslims are required to sharpen the blade when slaughtering animals. Muhammad is reported to have said, "For charity shown to each creature which has a wet heart, that is alive, there is a reward." Muhammad opposed recreational hunting saying, "Whoever shoots at a living creature for sport is cursed." Views regarding particular animals. Certain animals in Islamic traditions are mentioned or have a particular view attached to them. Bats are, in Shia hadith, bats are praised as a miracle of nature. Birds are commonly revered in Islamic literature, especially in the Sufi tradition, where they are a metaphor for the soul's divine journey to God. In the Nahj al-Balagha, the Shia book of the sayings of Ali, an entire sermon is dedicated to praising peacocks. Camels are, reportedly, Muhammad's camel Qaswa was very dear to him. Muhammad is also reported as having reprimanded some men who were sitting idly on their camels in a marketplace, saying, "Either ride them or leave them alone." Cats have a special place in Islamic culture. Muhammad is said to have loved his cat Mu'azzah to the extent that he would do without his cloak rather than disturb one that was sleeping on it. Pork is haram. One reason for this is that pigs are omnivorous, not herbivorous. Snakes are considered to represent viciousness. Dogs. The historian William Montgomery Watt states that Muhammad's kindness to animals was remarkable given the social context of his upbringing. He cites an instance of Muhammad, while traveling with his army to Mecca in 630 CE, posting sentries to ensure that a female dog and her newborn puppies were not disturbed. On the other hand, in a tradition found in the Sunni hadith book al-Muwatta, Muhammad is reported as saying that the company of dogs voids a portion of a Muslimah unregistered trademark's good deeds. However, in two separate narrations by Abu Hurairah, the Prophet told his companions of the virtue of saving the life of a dog by giving it water and quenching its thirst. One story referred to a man who was blessed by Allah for giving water to a thirsty dog. The other was a prostitute who filled her shoe with water and gave it to a dog, who had its tongue lolling out from thirst. For this deed she was granted the ultimate reward, the eternal paradise under which rivers flow, to live therein forever. According to a Sunni narration classified as authentic by Muslim Ibn al-Hajjaj, black dogs are a manifestation of evil in animal form. Khaled Abu al-Fadl states that the majority of scholars regard this to be pre-Islamic Arab mythology, and a tradition to be falsely attributed to the Prophet. Another tradition attributed to Muhammad commands Muslims not to trade or deal in dogs. The Hanafi school, however, the largest school of ritual law in Sunni Islam, dismisses this claim and permits dog trading. Many Muslim jurists consider dogs to be ritually unclean. However, jurists from the Sunni Maliki school disagree with the idea that dogs are unclean. Individual fatwa have indicated that dogs be treated kindly or otherwise released, and earlier Islamic literature often portrayed dogs as symbols of highly esteemed virtues such as self-sacrifice and loyalty, which, in the hands of despotic and unjust rulers, become oppressive instruments. Abu al-Fadl found it hard to believe that the same God who created such companionable creatures would of his prophet declare them unclean, stating that animosity towards dogs reflected views far more consistent with pre-Islamic Arab customs and attitudes. Furthermore, he found that a hadith from one of the most trustworthy sources tells how the Prophet himself had prayed in the presence of his playfully cavorting dogs. Dogs in the Qur'an. The Qur'an contains 3 mentions of dogs. Verse 5:4 says, "Lawful for you are all good things, and the prey that trained, hunting dogs and falcons catch for you." Verse 7:176 says that if you drive a dog away, it lolls out its tongue, panting, but if you leave it alone, it lolls out its tongue anyhow. Verse 18:18 describes the companions of the cave, a group of saintly young men presented in the Qur'an as exemplars of religion, sleeping with their dog stretching out its forelegs at the threshold. Further on, in verse 22, the dog is always counted as one of their number, no matter how they are numbered. In Muslim folklore, affectionate legends have grown around the loyal and protective qualities of this dog, whose name in legend is Qiao to the first Ma'wa. Trained hunting dogs and the dog of the companions of the cave are described in a positive light, and the companionship of these dogs is mentioned with approval. The Qur'an thus contains not even a hint of the condemnation of dogs found in certain adaptations. Dogs in adaptations. 1. Ibn Mughafal reported, the Messenger of Allah ordered killing of the dogs, and then said, "What about them, i.e. about other dogs?" And then granted concession the dog for hunting and the dog for of the herd, and said, "When the dog licks the utensil, wash it 7 times, and rub it with earth the 8th time." 4. Ibn Umar reported Allah's Messenger giving command for killing dogs. Some Muslim commentators suggest however that these killings were to be limited to rabid dogs. 5. A prostitute was forgiven by Allah, because, passing by a panting dog near a well and seeing that the dog was about to die of thirst, she took off her shoe, and tying it with her head cover she drew out some water for it. So, Allah forgave her because of that. Bukhari 4538. This is an extraordinary hadith, because following the Sunnah of Muhammad, prostitutes can be extremely despised figures among most Muslims, yet it expresses the idea that even someone working in one of the most despised of professions, in showing mercy to an animal, can merit the forgiveness of Allah, and the wise. As epithet, there can be some unfortunate problems associated with the word kalb because it can be used as an epithet, especially in compound terms such as Beni al-Kalb or Ibn al-Kalb. Religious impurity. The majority of Muslim jurists consider dogs to be ritually unclean, though jurists from the Sunni Maliki school disagree. However, outside their ritual uncleanness, Islamic fatwa, or rulings, enjoin that dogs be treated kindly or else be freed. Muslims generally cast dogs in a negative light because of their ritual impurity. The story of the 7 sleepers of Ephesus in the Qur'an is one of the striking exceptions. Though dogs are not recommended as pets, they are allowed to be kept, especially if used for work and protection, such as guarding the house or farm, or when used for hunting purposes. Muslims and sniffer dogs, despite a reporting suggesting that sniffer dogs trained to detect explosives should no longer come into contact with Muslim passengers, the British Transport Police insisted it would still use them with any passengers, though handlers would remain aware of a cultural sensitivity. A proposal was made from the Association of Chief Police Officers that sniffer dogs used to search mosques and Muslim homes should be fitted with leather booties to cover their paws and thereby avoid causing offence. Muslim convicts in British prisons are entitled to fresh clothes and linen if they feel these may have been in contact with canine saliva. Copies of the Quran and other religious items are checked by hand. Muslim cultures, usually in Muslim-majority cultures, animals have names, which are often interchangeable with names of people. Muslim names like Asat and Adanfa, Sher and Arslan are common in the Muslim world. Prominent Muslims with animal names include Hamza ibn Abd al-Muttalib, Abd al-Rahman ibn Sakhr al-Azdi, Abdul Qadir Jilani and Law Shahbaz Calendar of Siwam. Islamic literature contains many stories of animals. Arabic and Persian literature boast a large number of animal fables. The most famous, Kalawadimna or Painchatantra, translated into Arabic by Abd al-H ibn al-Mikhaw in the 8th century, was also known in Europe. In the 12th century Shib al-Din al-Surawadi wrote many short stories of animals. At about the same time, in northeastern Iran, At-Danay Shahpuri composed the epic poem Montique Altair. It has even been alleged that the Reynard Cycle, a satirical set of fables set in a kingdom of animals, was inspired by similar Arab legends. Criticism, ritual slaughter. The ritual methods of slaughter practiced in Islam and Judaism have been decried by some UK animal welfare organisations as inhumane and causing severe suffering. According to Judy MacArthur-Clark, chairperson of the Farm Animal Welfare Council, cattle require up to 2 minutes to bleed to death when halal or kosher means of slaughter are used. This is a major incision into the animal, and to say that it doesn't suffer is quite ridiculous. In response, Majid Khatm of the Muslim Council of Britain stated that, it is a sudden and quick hemorrhage. A quick loss of blood pressure and the brain is instantaneously starved of blood and there is no time to start feeling any pain. In permitting dhabihah, the German Constitutional Court cited the 1978 study led by Professor Wilhelm Schulze at the University of Veterinary Medicine Hanover, which concluded that, slaughter in the form of ritual cut is, if carried out properly, painless in sheep and calves according to the EEG recordings and the missing defensive actions. Muslims and Jews have also argued that traditional British methods of slaughter have meant that animals are sometimes rendered physically immobile, although with full consciousness and sensation. The application of a sharp knife in Cheshire and Dab, by contrast, ensures that no pain is felt, the wound inflicted is clean, and the loss of blood causes the animal to lose consciousness within seconds. See also: Animal rights, animal sacrifice, legal aspects of ritual slaughter, animals in Christian art, notes. References: Masri, Al-Hafiz Bashir Ahmad. Animal Welfare in Islam. ISBN A0-86037-411-4, El Fadel, Khaled Abba. Encyclopedia of Religion and Nature, SV. Dogs in the Islamic Tradition and Nature. New York. New York, Continuum International Fowls, Reshad C. Animals in Islamic Tradition and Muslim Cultures. Own World Publications. ISBN A1-85168-398-4, Gill, H.A. A Shorter Encyclopedia of Islam. Netherlands, Brill Publishers A. Khan, Tawzif, Honey B., in Muhammad in History, Thought, and Culture, an Encyclopedia of the Prophet of God, edited by C. Fitzpatrick and A. Walker, Santa Barbara, ABC Clio, 2014, Vol. I, pages 263 to 265. ISBN 1610691776, Dlilai, Sarah, Animals, in Muhammad in History, Thought, and Culture, an Encyclopedia of the Prophet of God, edited by C. Fitzpatrick and A. Walker, Santa Barbara, ABC Clio, 2014, Vol. I, pages 24 to 29. ISBN 1610691776, external links, Islamic Concern, a site dedicated to improving Islam's understanding of animals. Muslim group supports students' right to service dog, the Great Arab Muslim American Dog Story, video regarding compassion for animals by the late Imam B.A. Hafiz al-Masri, Sharjah Mosque, Woking, United Kingdom. Hosni al-Khatib Shahada, Islamic Rulings Prove, Allah Loves Animals, Animals and Islam by A.R. Spiritual Vegan, Vegan Views 91, Animals in Islam by Al-Hafiz B.A. Masri, Dogs in Islam.